At the dawn of centralized rule in Egypt's first dynasty, social classification began to take its initial shape. Over generations, as society advanced, this hierarchy became more defined, more rigid. At the very bottom stood the slaves, often war captives, or the destitute bound to the will of others. Slavery was a normalized practice in the Old Kingdom. Slaves were taken in conquest. They labored in agriculture, domestic service, and state construction projects, temples, monuments, tombs. Their legal status was fragile. Some were granted conditional freedom or absorbed into society through service, but most remained nameless instruments of power. Above them were the laborers, men and women crushed by the weight of royal taxation. To avoid falling into slavery, they bore impossible burdens. They worked the land. They built. They survived. Pharaonic taxation was not simply economic policy. It was strategy. By draining the resources of the working class, it suppressed upward mobility and eliminated threats to the throne. This cycle of exploitation ensured their dependence. They were not meant to rise. They were meant to serve. The system was precise, obedience in exchange for survival. And the pharaohs, through control of labor and land, extended their dominance across generations. Above the workers stood soldiers, the enforcers of royal will, and the specialists, physicians, engineers, scribes, artisans, and state officials. Skilled, respected, but still bound to the apparatus of the state. Beyond them were the nobles, the priests, and the viziers, those who benefited from the sweat of others. They lived in comfort, protected by structure, empowered by doctrine. At the top, the pharaoh ruler and god. He monopolized wealth, built armies, and expanded infrastructure. To the people, he was divine order personified. Yet he did not rule alone. His authority was intertwined with the priesthood, the architects of belief. Though officially beneath the pharaoh, their influence was real. Through myth, fear, and ritual, they forged a shared illusion. Religion was not born of revelation, it was engineered. Early rulers weaponized faith. Priests manufactured gods to legitimize control. Through repetition and spectacle, beliefs were etched into the collective mind. Dissent was met with exile, torture, or death. Obedience became identity. And so, generation after generation, belief fossilized into culture. The gods were personified, each fragment of nature or creation given shape, story, and sanctity. Through them, pharaohs justified dominion. People worshiped stone while their own lives turned to dust. The priesthood, hidden behind ceremony, dictated moral law in the name of silent deities. They redefined suffering as purpose and traded imagined salvation for real submission. Through dogma and doctrine, they harvested the minds of the defenseless. When workers rebelled, divine wrath was invoked. When despair grew heavy, false hope was offered. And every day, they returned to build the world they would never own.
Slaves are mine, and lives are mine. All that they own